Okay, right, I think it's time to go. And good evening all. Martin, G4FKK. Now by all means feel free to join in. Not sure what my video's like with people. It's a bit odd. I'm trying a different FFmpeg script tonight, and different receivers seem to be giving different results. But one thing is true, I actually have fixed the aspect ratio issue. It is at least 16:9, so that was one of the achievements in the GTZ chat. Anyway, we've got a reasonable list, and we'll put Martin on the end. Yes, 16:9, no longer the fat or thin controller. Anyway, the main man is away acting as cameraman for a WI cooking demonstration. So I'm afraid you've got the standby man tonight. So without further ado, we'll put it round to Mike, and after that it goes to GI4DUH. So MJW to take it from G8GTZ and the BATC Net.
Then if you get one, two, three, 1, 2, 3, panic, panic. Okay, they're sort of moisture, current. Should be back now. Hopefully only one of me.
Right, and now I've got to find the right screen. Just a moment. There we are. Good evening. Just mute the receiver as well because I can check my audio, but it's a bit distracting. Right, yeah, so that was an interesting fault. I was using my laptop downstairs to test the system via Wi-Fi, so I shut it down and came up to the shack, but Windows in its wisdom didn't actually shut down. Maybe it was by OBS, and it was still streaming to the Pluto, even though it wasn't actually active. So there were two video streams interleaved with each other, causing the issue with the video. So sorry about that. No wonder things were confused. Not a lot to show you really. I can't remember. Did I show you this thing last week? I don't know. It's the Nucker, which is now built up, and we've been testing it, and it does seem to work. So that's good. It's a long way to go, though. Very long way to go. It's difficult to transmit a. I've done it with DATV Express, and that works okay. Video, but with GNU Radio I need to generate a transport stream, and I've only managed to get it to go down to some of the higher rates. So I've been transmitting some pretty fantastic 64 signals, but they're not really compatible with the use case we have, which is DX. There we go. Only other thing to show you, one of these things. Oh, we were talking about them on eBay. These 27-volt supplies. Anyway, I have fitted my usual power poles to that. Power poles that are set up with an extra 12 volts and 28 volts. But I mean, my question is, has anyone managed to figure out how to get these things to produce 28 volts rather than 27.2 volts? So that's it from me. Right, hopefully that was comprehensible and working. Back to the test card, and let's see who it is next. Just looking at the chat, which isn't showing. M0DTS, over to you, Rob.
The usual clickety click. Right, press that button there. Yep. Evening, everyone. Yeah, I haven't got one of them them power supplies, Mike. I've got some different ones I got from the same guy. They're a Power 1, I think they are, which are like 35 amps or something. They're a similar sort of thing, but they don't have, I think they're like 45 amps or something, them ones, so that's, they're quite nice. I think they were a bit more expensive when I bought them, so I just bought the cheaper ones, but it's good enough to 3.37 amp most of the way up. And it doesn't seem to overheat either, but yeah, I'd be interested as well, because I've suggested them power supplies to somebody else and they want a little bit more voltage out, like 32 volts or whatever. Yeah, 45, but you probably see if can I reach that one or not? Yeah, that's the one. Test amp. That's a Power 1. Is that going to work? Is it going to focus? There we go. It doesn't like that, does it? Power 1, and that's the specification. But he was selling these for quite a while back. What are these? 36 amps. Yeah. I don't think I adjusted this one, and it's on like 27 point something. which is good enough really. I don't really need any more. But as you can see, there's just a couple of wires through the holes. On the other one that I use outside, I put a bit of PCB, just FR4 copper on, and just put 2 M4 bolts through there. I think just brass bolts through there for the connection. So it's got 2 terminals on there for the 70 sems and 23 sems amplifier. Oh, I've made up. I'll do a quick. So potty feed inside the 23. Slide that in. It's fall out. It works a treat. So let me just. Why does that not? Turn that one on and go to that. Actually, in the feed. So it just the side there, and there's just a cable that runs up one of the booms, the feed support that holds holds the temporary thing. I'll disconnect it when we finish the net tonight, and the reflector on the feed stops the 23 sems enough to get back in to hit the preamp. That was just a tried and see, so it seems to work fine. So, yeah, the only other thing I've done is this nice little sign that's above us there. So I don't need to put a test card up now. I can just leave that running. A load of NeoPixels, 2812 LEDs, like the programmable ones, Reno, and a bit of MDF. So it looks quite nice. Hopefully that's distracting you from all the clutter on the bench and everything else on there. So that was the idea. Right. Okay. It's is it working? I don't know. But, needed something to go in that space in the shack. I had to move all my little cabinets up. Right. G4NKV. The latency on today. 3. It's about 3.5. Really good. Right.
Okay then, it disappeared. Disappeared momentarily. Let me use my mute button. There we go. Excellent. I'll just check that I've actually got some audio. That we've got the right headphones on. Oh yeah, that's all right. That's good. The mute button is really handy on Ryde. I'm in at the moment, but the Ryde is really doing this. So that's
Un, deux, un, deux. Okay. Good evening to all of you. I need to switch down sound on the reception. So, Switzerland is starting to have snow. It's just about 400 meters higher than my place, near the Lake of Geneva. So on my side, I have received my Christmas present for last year's, not for this year, for last year's, which is TBS 6903-X. I'm sure that all of you know this card. It's DVB-S, DVB-S2, DVB-S2X tuner card from our friend from China. And the interesting thing of this card is also support the data mode. So as you may know that you are able to, it's already used to transmit IP data through the DVB-S2X standard. And I think that is quite interesting because that on it's W6RZ, the guy who has developed the GNU radio module for DVB-S, S2 and T transmission with GNU radio, is also now made extra module which should allow us to use it to transmit data over DVB-S2. So is why I did bought this card for the reception side. So I am starting to test it, and for that I'm using the EUMETSAT services from the European Meteo Organization. And I just received it 3 days ago, so I found the satellite which transmits this IP information, and I was able just to receive now the first part, which is kind of directory of what is available on the service. So I'm waiting some license to be able to decode and receive nice meteo pictures, and that's the first step. And the next one will be to use GNU Radio AC to see if I am able locally to transmit and receive IP stream over the VBS2. And maybe later on, if that's working over QO, QO100, and I think that will be quite fun to use DVB-S2 to transmit inside IP, and inside the IP to have video, of course. Okay, so it's what I'm doing right now for the coming weeks, and I think it's going to be interesting. Okay, so next to me is G0 Delta QH.
Okay, just checking the audio, make sure I've got that. Okay, that's good. Okay. Yeah, good evening everyone. Yeah, I'm not sure what time we'll get to you on Saturday, Colin, probably a little bit after midday if that's okay. I usually like to drop in and have a look at the records on the record shop on the way down and add to my collection. Okay, these are the power supplies. I've got to let you have a couple of these. They're 24 volts at 6 amps and quite substantial units. They weigh about 0.9 of a kilo, so quite heavy. And also some of these. So if you remember, I should have brought these along to the rally. This was a year, about 18 months ago now. And in my haste to get to the rally, I forgot them. So I'll make sure you get these on Saturday. I've got quite a few of these, incidentally, if anybody wants. They're ex-equipment, but they're 9 to 36 volts DC in and 12 volts DC out at 1¼ amps. And I use one of these to switch on my the bias on my PA. So there you go. Okay, that's about it from me. Short and sweet as usual. And I've got programming problems with the central heating at the moment, so I'm dashing around looking and making sure that that is behaving itself, and hopefully that will be working properly now. Okay, I'll just bring up that, and I'll catch you all again hopefully next week. From G0DQH in Chandler's Ford, we're about 5 miles north of the city of Southampton.
Okay everyone, G4HJW. I'm ever so sorry about that, James. That was me that messed you up the last one. I'm not getting text coming up from the other side, so I don't know why that's frozen up. I'm just pleased to come up. I've not been doing much TV, which is why I've left the little ident come up, but I can come back onto me now. And I did have problems with the Bluetooth. I was having problems. I'm just keeping my finger. So, yes, to Nick. When I look to put my audio on AAC, it's greyed out. I can't do anything with that, so I'm using DATV Express. Maybe you don't get that choice, so apologies to you, Nick. I know you had problems with me last week. So the only other stuff I've been doing is I can hear you all sighing now. Is the optical, and I've ordered a 300mm round Fresnel lens, which will give me 3D gain, and I'm going to our really fantastic plastic shop in the next village and get some to make the box. That should be okay. Might be a tad expensive, but and thanks to Noel and John, and I see that the Nanowave group has emails for it, which, I mean, we go 6 months without anything on those. If anybody hasn't realised, the microwave group on their matters via the next month it's going to be AGM talking about 122 gigs. Since in an indirect way the opto activity is being kicked off by the 122 gig activity, which is interesting if not strange. Right, enough of me. Again, once again, I'm ever so up on the last over. So I think, as I say, I'm not getting any messages coming up at the minute, but I think it must be on to you now. GTZ
HGTZ. Okay, fair enough. That was a pretty good round. Got till 10 to 9, and that's just one turn round. Some comments on what people said. I know Mike keeps confusing us with all of these PCBs and project names that he's working on. But don't worry, in CQTV this time round, there is a sort of, it will kind of make sense. Which is my version of one of the PCBs. We've come up with the name, the Advanced Receiver Board. And that's the board that can have two tuners. Or is it there? Second tuner can sit there. But in this configuration with the Pi 4 and the single tuner, this is what a Ryde will look like in the future. The main advantage is you miss out the USB module. But don't worry, because the split Ryde will still absolutely be supported, so you're not losing anything by building them with the splits. So that's what we're at. Three tuners next. Yes, thanks, Rob. Don't give Mike any ideas. It will be done by the end of this. By the end of the night. What else? Yeah, talking about CQTV, it's just about ready to go. We're appealing for wintry cover pictures. You probably didn't see it, Bernie, but it was very timely. We'd like a wintry aerial picture. So Bernie, I don't know if you'd be prepared to send us a copy of your snow scene. We may well use it as a cover poster for a cover picture for BATC. What else? The Ryde frequency issue drifting down. Yes, that's a known problem. I think you already had the red. Don't know. Send it to Frank again, Rob, just in case. The Ryde picking up signals, LF, yes, no problem. But also Brian EWJ has inadvertently come up for a fix with it, which will be incorporated. Data modes in DVBS and DVBS. It's been known about, of course, for years, but something I don't believe amateurs have played with. That would now confuse people if they see a DVBS2 carrier on. I saw a DVBS carrier on QO100 and couldn't work out how to decode it. That would be very interesting. Ryde 16 PSK. Resolving the narrowband signals, such as there's one on there at the moment, 36 kilohertz. You have, because they're running such high order modulation, you really need a very, very good MER, and very often you won't be able to decode it because you haven't got enough signal. Yeah, one thing that a couple of people have suffered from tonight is don't forget that very often you will have a transmit buffer build up while you're transmitting, and so if you throw the switch, just as you finish talking, you very often won't transmit the end of your QSO. So if you can leave a gap before you cut carrier would be very useful. One final comment from me. I've noticed I've got my Ryde set up. Miss off. I need to get the aspect ratio. I seem to have got displaying the full. Remembered I'm running it in composite mode, so it's probably a composite problem. So I think that was all I picked up on. I think we've probably got time to go once more round. So Mike, if you'd like to start to take your true position in the queue, G0 MJW to go, and then GI4 DOH can take it after that. So you've probably already done the design for the 3 tuner board. Perhaps you'd like to show it to us, Mike. G0MJW to take it, G8GTZ and the BATC Net.
Right. Give that time to lock. It's locked here. Hopefully it'll lock in other places. Right, this is the power supply. It looks like that. It doesn't have a little tuner underneath it, so I guess, Jim, it's different from the one that you're used to. And they're all different, but this one doesn't have a tweak as far as I can tell. It probably uses a couple of resistors, or it's programmed in software, I don't know. Rob was asking about power poles, and Jason was showing us them. So let me just grab the other camera. Point it vaguely in the right direction and hope it might focus eventually. So my idea originally was to have 3 in line, one for 0, then one for 12, and then one for 24, 28, 50, whatever. So that's why I ended up with them in line, but it is a standard spacing using one of their short spacers. I realised quite quickly that if you do put 3 in line, that's a bad idea, because you can accidentally align them incorrectly, and that wouldn't be good at all. So I like the way you've done it. I did look at doing it that way as well, actually, but in the end I didn't. But this is a thing to put one in a panel, 3D printed. You probably shouldn't use transparent filament when you've got infill in it, because you can see straight through it. Here's one of the one for a round hole, slightly later design, with a printed nut, and that works quite well actually. And here's one for 3. But Rob mentioned colours. They come in all sorts of colours, and this is by no means all of them. I was trying to differentiate, so for me purple is 50 volts, and orange is 28 volts, and red is 12 volts. Just lets me remember what I'm doing. Anyway, that's probably all very boring to everybody, so I'll say 7.3. Catch you all next week hopefully, and then it's Christmas, so there'll be a bit of a hiatus. So everyone keep safe. G0MJW saying 7.3.
4 seconds. That's not too bad. It's gone up a little bit. I hadn't checked that for a little while. And just a little tweak on the Pluto code, and it seems to give you about 1.5 seconds less latency compared with like the standard setup, but I don't know whether it's something we can add. Probably. I don't know how bothered people are about latency, but once we get KM back up and running, which we might do at Christmas, that is, we're kind of hoping that's the plan, to do a bit with that. So, well, there'll be some equipment arriving up at the repeater. Whether it'll actually get done is another matter, but we'll see with that. What else was I going to mention? I know. Just today, there's various bits and pieces on there. 24 gig stuff, but let's see if I can find the article of interest. Probably not now. Should have looked for that before. So yeah, there's a bit from the VK guys doing optical communication on, yeah, optical again, you know, got to fit it in. They'll be doing optical with FST4 and FST4W, which is the new JT65, well, JT mode, I would say JT65 there. And basically that one decodes down to minus 45 dB or something like that anyway. But they'd done some new tests at 20 kilometers and 153 kilometers non-line of sight using 50 watts with a 10 degree beam width, and they've decoded at minus 14 dB, so that shows you how much is still left. Quite amazing, really. So that's here, and then there's another mention further back in. Where's the other mention of it? So, the German stations, who was it? DL3ARM and a few others. ULB, DL9WNM and TC6UW. There's loads of call signs in there anyway. But they've done 147 kilometers 5 and 9 on optical, which is pretty good. So obviously a good path there. So there's a few pictures and things inside there of 24 gig stuff and optical stuff and what have you. So yeah, that was interesting. So I haven't fully read that yet, and there was also that one came as well. So loads of reading. So yeah, I don't know if I've got anything more to add. So I've been playing around trying to get the DVB, well, the Express software, the Linux Express software, to work on the Raspberry Pi, so we can do DVB-T off the Pi. So far, I haven't succeeded when it should work, so I'm not really sure what's up there. It doesn't work on my main PC, so it's not the Pi that's the problem. There's something else, but I'm not really sure what it is. So, still working on that. Trying to think if there's anything else, really. Oh yeah, I was working through last night, so I know Tony's not on tonight, but I was working Tony, G0AZQ and various other stations through GB3EY, which is an obstructed path. It's 93 kilometres over the top of the North Yorkshire Moors, and on the Radio Mobile Pathplot software, it reckons the signal to noise for me to receive it is minus 30 dB. Well, it's 30 dB below what I need to actually receive it, and that's taken into account my 3 metre dish with 30 dB of gain. So it isn't very optimistic on the path, but I can detect it all the time. I think I mentioned last week I can detect it, but last night it came up by 2 or 3 dB, something like that. Put a signal on and I was straight in, so that was pretty cool. So I was working through that for about 2 hours and it's not really any tropo at all. So just a little bit more enhancement and quite stable enhancement. It wasn't very choppy, whereas today it's really choppy. So that was good. So really happy with that. So I couldn't actually see the repeater, but fortunately it's streaming now, so I was able to work a few stations through it. So yeah, 93 kilometres, obstructed path, pretty nastily obstructed as well. But so yeah, if anyone basically in the north is looking for a repeater to try get to, EY is probably your one. So because it's accepting 333 kilosymbols at 1/4, which gives you lots of dBs more than the output in comparison. So there we go. And yeah, I know I'm picking the camera up to do this, but on the bottom of the screen here, look what I've got, the little orange dot. So yeah, I'm due, but I'm not going to do that tonight because I'm off. I'm up early in the morning, so that one's getting bypassed until next week. So there we go. Right, I'll say 7.3 to everyone. Don't think there's anything else to mention. Oh, power poles, yeah, I'll have a look into that sometime. I would need hundreds of the damn thing, so that's the only problem. So everything is just using either banana plugs or not the fully round ring the ring crimps, but the U-shaped ring, the U-shaped crimps anyway, so you can just push them on and tighten it up. Or the snipped round ones maybe as well. So there we go. Right, yeah, I'll be on next week, so we'll catch up with you then. The orange dot, that's the Windows Update dot, you know what I mean. Right, what mod? Oh, yeah, I did say the modulation. FST4 or whatever it is, it's the new one anyway. Right. Never see it. Oh, okay. Well, man tells us. It says, your device needs to restart and install updates. Select a time to restart. Must be like the scheduler thing. Right. 7.3. Round to Nick. G4NKV. M0DTS.
1, 2, 1, 2. Okay. Here also we use a power pole from a long time, I think almost 5 years. I did at the time a major order in the US for the community. And I don't know if you know that, but it's one of a very interesting product called WhatsApp. And it's a small module that you can put on your alimentation line, and you can measure tension, power, instant amperes, volts, and so on. Very interesting. And you can measure a lot of amps by configuring the product with an external line. So, very nice product that I use very often when I am in a portable station, so I can see all the parameters for the battery. The next thing is that I'm very happy to hear that maybe we will get sometime DVB-T. Here I have a small product. Well, of course, focus will not come, but basically it's IDS transmitter and receiver DVB-T. Very small box. We have done a lot of tests with DVB-T because due to the mountains we have all around us, that was more robust to reflections. So we have bought this kind of small transceiver. And the last thing is the present of this year. We have been able to get this very nice, sorry I don't have the pictures of my PC, this very nice tower with all the dishes, everything. It was the head of cable TV distribution network, and I'm working on reconfiguring this dish, 3-meter dish, to make a remote station for QO100 and for a group of guys. And I have received the new version of the combine receive on 10 gig and transmit on 2.4 gig from BATC in Germany. It's a new version which hopefully is working better than the previous one. Well, on the 3-meter dish is not too much a problem, but so the main thing is mechanical, as always. The parabol, the dish is at 15 meter high on the mast, so of course we have a platform, we can work on it, but it's quite difficult because the I don't know, the piece which is fixing the LNB is outside the tower, so we need some guys which are agile to go to remove all this stuff. Okay, so that's it for me. I wish you all a very nice evening and week, end of week, and see you next Thursday, hopefully. And this is Hotel Bravo 9 Delta Uniform Golf. Giving back the mic to G4H Juliet Whiskey. Nice whiskey this evening will be quite interesting with a good coffee. Bye to all.
Yes, thank you, Michelle. It's very needed out here because it's cold in the shed, so whiskey would be very good. Right, I'll come on to that picture, by the way. I am terrible at photography. We don't normally get much snow here, and I woke up to see that early on in the week. And I was, so it was still morning and quite dark. Took that picture. I was very pleased with it, so that's on some of my Christmas cards now. Anyway, this time round I've got to apologise to Martin for messing you up as well, having messed up James the over before. I don't know what to say about that. I do try hard not to do silly things like that, so apologies. The power poles, I've seen them. I don't use them. I have so many D-connectors. For anything with high current, I tend to use 25 ADs. I'm not short of those, so that's my route for connectors on DC power supplies. Oh, Rob, thanks for the FST4 note. I'll certainly have a look for that, because you embarrassed me last week when you said, or the week before, when you said what you were using. Oh, I don't need these on. When you said what you were using for your cloud bounds and the distance you got, and all I wanted to do is to talk to Jenny 10 kilometres away. I was really embarrassed about that, but we talked about it during the week, and that's something I do want to get onto and automate it if I can. So that's something I'd like to try. Oh yes, Michelle, that mast or the various bits on the tower. I was going to talk about one of the radio-orientated auction sites over here that was selling a lot of 700 meg stuff, and they had some 100 metre towers, but I think what you showed makes that look like nothing really. But it looks as though they're not selling you the tower. That would take some moving, I admit. And I think that's about it for me, so good catch everybody to tonight. Oh, and I don't get the magazine, the Jubis either of, so thanks for mentioning the bits in the optical bits in there. It's really good to get a bit of activity on the non-wave reflector, because it stays so quiet most of the year. And it's pretty obvious individuals are doing things, but maybe not as a group. So most of it I don't think gets written up. But the 122 gig stuff, which I'm on this current list of build for 122, so I'll be very interested to get the board when it comes in and do a bit of playing around on that. Right, good night to everybody, and hopefully it goes on to Martin. I'll get it right this time, and once again apologies for what I did on the last over in getting it wrong. So G4FKK.
We've had that at some point. Anyway, yeah, thank you very much. All very interesting. Bernie, I did do optical ago, before I got my license, at the end of my dad's garden, backed on someone else was Jan Cliffen G5 ACA at the time, and he was very kind to me with components and things, and we used to communicate via light bulbs, modulated, I seem to remember, with the an armature and a speaker coil. But that was only about, well, that would have been about 400 feet, so probably not a distance record. Power poles, yeah, I went over to power poles some years ago, and whoever it was said they'd have to buy hundreds. Yeah, you do. I used a number of different things, but power poles are good. I did buy some Chinese ones on spec, and someone said on the chat that they catch fire. Mine haven't done that, but they don't fit proper ones. It's a bit of a squeeze, so as Mike suggested, I just pay the extra and get good ones. I've learnt lots as usual on this net today. I'd never heard of NeoPixels until yesterday when Gareth G4XAT mentioned them to me. He's doing clever things with those. So very pleased to see your call sign up in lights there, Rob. Windows 10 updates. No, I get no warning at all, other when I try and shut it down. It says you'll just have to get or not. So at least yours is a bit more polite than mine. Michelle, what a lovely Christmas present that was. And yeah, Bernie, I saw the masts for sale on the auction site. That would be nice, wouldn't it? That new version of the dual band patch feed seemed to have a very wide space between the backplate and the patch itself. So that must be quite a different design. Interested in that. What was the other thing I made a note of? Oh, the adjacent channel, the Ryde tuning up the adjacent channel. I quite like that. Obviously it's not a feature, but I quite like it when it does. It keeps the screen busy. Right. Okay. Well, the only other thing I do with power poles, red is 12 mic and yellow. You do have to be a bit careful in this shack. Anyway, right. Thank you all for having me, and I shall look forward to the next one. And it's round to Jason now, G7 Oscar Charlie Delta, G4 FKK. Thank you and good night.
thanks Jason and everybody else. Really excellent net, hour and a half and counting, so that's good. Lots of interesting and stimulating discussion. Very interesting in some of the stuff you were talking about, Jason. Low power mobile, maritime mobile. I don't know if anybody's done maritime mobile on Oscar 100, but yeah, that could be interesting. A couple of other things picked up on there, the optical stuff. Yes, I really must get my act together and move things forward and try and get out as we haven't done anything for a while. DVB-T, Michelle, I don't know how bandwidth scalable that is. I think that's the Hyde stick you've got, but we're hoping to do a solution which is probably a bit more variable and narrower than the Hyde solution. So that's the plan. As Mike showed you, there's a PCB laid out, but of course that's almost the easiest bit. And on transmit, Rob indicated the desirable path would be a DVB-T module on a Pi, because guess what that could be integrated into, so that would be great. Anyway, CQTV will be out this week. I just received the final proof copy, and it looks an absolute cracking issue. Lots in there to read. It's going to be an early Christmas present for you, so it probably won't be read over the Christmas holidays. But there's a lot of good stuff in there this time, and the cover picture is it looks. Actually, that's what I should have done. Is taken a screen grab and just shown you the cover, because the cover picture is very cool. I can't do that now. But anyway, well worthwhile looking forward to, and the electronic version will be out by the weekend, and the printed version should be going to the printers tomorrow, which means it will probably be popped in the post sometime next week. So it should be with people by the end of next week, and certainly by Christmas, which is good. Anyway, I'll sign off and clear with that, and thanks to everybody for taking part. Really interesting net again, and I hope to see you all next week. And there'll be one more before Christmas. I suppose we'll all have to wear silly hats, or have party poppers in the shack, or perhaps have a glass of something, because that will be the 23rd, won't it? 23rd, yes, 23rd of December in 2 weeks' time. So that'd be cool. Okay, well, thank you, and very good night to everybody, and best 73s to you all, and I'll leave the frequency now for a free for all. Okay, 73s all.